Hey guys, Creator Mom. It's the last day of 2024, going into 2025, so that's fun, pretty cool. My car did break down. I think the last video I made about it was that my battery light was on. So it's all kind of crazy though, because it's crazy how we can have two sides, two thoughts about things, right? So the one side of me was like, I shouldn't drive my van, even though it was still driving, even though the battery light was on. Because even though the people at Tire Plus and such told me that it wasn't just going to quit on me because it looked like it was charging, well, apparently, like, they didn't really know what they were talking about. They're like, oh, your alternator's operating at 12 volts. That's pretty good because it should be like around 13 or maybe 14 volts. And the guy who came out from AAA to check out my van was like, no, it shouldn't be at 12 volts is not good. Even though it seems like it's close, but it's not good. So, but it was my choice. I take ownership over my decisions. It's not Tire Plus's fault. I knew that they weren't, because I asked them, I was like, well, can you guys check out why the battery light's actually on? They're like, oh, our person who does that isn't here. I think that the guys I was talking to mostly messed around with the tires, and the guy who did mechanical stuff in the car was out until after the new year. Like, everybody's out until after the new year, right? And that's why I didn't get my car looked at sooner when the battery light came on, because, well, for the most part, because at first when my battery light came on, it would go off. And so in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, it's off. It's no big deal. But my car, I guess, was like signaling to me. And then there was a point in time after I took a longer trip, which was like 30 minutes away, where when I got in the car to come home, the battery light stayed on. Well, it stayed on until I got it checked at AutoZone. And then when he checked the battery and said it was okay, I turned the car back on, the battery light wasn't on anymore. So that made me, that signal to my brain, okay, it's safe to drive home. So thank God that we made it home on the highway that day. So I still had in mind that, like, okay, I don't want to drive my car much. I'm not going to drive it at all. Like, I'll drive, like, around here, because I know if I drive it, like, to the library or to the store, that, like, I'm not stranded. Like, I can just walk home, literally, or take the bus. So, but then the other day, no, this was, like, the day before yesterday. This is how fast my problem got solved. It was, like, pew, like, lightning fast. Now that I'm looking back at it, I'm like, whoa, it's like time and space collapse. So the day before yesterday, my son wants to go to Walmart for something. I'm like, I really don't want to drive up that way, even though it's not extremely far from where I live. It is on like a 2-lane little highway, not like a big highway, just a little 2-lane. And I was like, you know what, fine, let's go. Because in my mind, I thought, I need to get some food and some bedding for the guinea pigs anyways, and if when I drop my car off to get fixed, I may not be able to drive up there for a while, like, who knows. But that's dumb though, because I could have taken the bus up there too, because the bus goes straight up to the Walmart. But well, no, that's not dumb, actually. See, part of me calls myself dumb, and the other part is like, no, actually, you're not dumb. Because carrying back animal bedding, I don't know if you know the big packages the animal bedding comes in. I'm not going to carry that back on the bus, you know. So I was thinking, yeah, I could shoot up there and get the guinea pig food and then get the bedding. And I get the bedding at Tractor Supply, which is like 2 minutes from Walmart, like going up, because no one can beat their price, I feel like. It's a huge bag for like $8. I could have just gotten a bag at Walmart, but I was like, my brain just couldn't do it. I'm like, I guess either way you pay, because I did end up paying. Like, But I never the thing is, you never would know what happened. Like, I don't know what would have happened if I got in the car from Walmart and was like, you know what, I'm just taking off home. Like, how far would I have made it until my car went put 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 put? But I decided to take that extra risk and go up to Tractor Supply just to get the cheaper bedding. But my car could have broke down anyways, regardless of whether I chose to go to Tractor Supply or not. But got the bedding from Tractor Supply. And as I was parking at Tractor Supply, I felt like a and I was like, what the hell was that? And then I was like, oh no, because it had been raining a little bit too. So I was like, oh, probably when I braked to park, it just kind of slid a little bit. That's how I chalked it up in my mind. But then when I got back in the car, turned it on, started driving, I felt it again. And I was like, the van's doing something. So thank God there was there's plenty of parking lots because it's not like a highway. Like I said, it's just like a double main highway with like stores and things like that, gas stations. So I was able to pull it right into the empty U.S. Bank parking lot. And, yeah, which was right next to a bowling alley. Like, I don't like crises or breaking down, but it just seems to be that every time this happens, it is safe. I am safe. And I thank God for that when it does occur, that I am safe. Because my mind goes to, oh my God, Sheena, what if you would have broken down on the highway with all those trucks? My mind wants to go to catastrophe sometimes. So I can't go there though. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, but it didn't, So then, we went inside because it was getting dark and it wasn't freezing. Thank God. These past couple of days it's been more like rainy and warm. So I go, then I call Geico, and Geico's like, you have run out of roadside assistance towing. And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm going to be switching insurances now. But I think that most insurances only give you like 3 roadside assistances or something like that, 3 to 5 maybe. Excuse me. So then they're like, here's a list of tows that you can call. You'll just have to pay for it yourself. So I keep trying to call these numbers and nobody's picking up. And, in this moment in time feels very dark, like very like scary, it's like me and my kids. So, but I realize I'm parked next to this bowling alley too. And I'm like, that's divine, because we could go in there and feel safe. We can sit down, be warm, and wait until our tow comes. We don't have to wait and be freezing cold in the car. It wasn't freezing cold though, thank God, but the kids were a little bit cold. So then I called Geico. I'm, hey, look, I can't reach anybody. So they kind of did it for me. But the thing is, they connected me with a towing company that was kind of far away. So I have to pay for them to come all the way to me too. So that wasn't ideal. And I've learned, it's kind of like when life spanks you a little bit. You're like, oh, okay. Oh, now I've learned that when I call for a tow, make sure to call for local. See, because I wasn't extremely aware of that. Like, now that makes sense to me. Like, oh, yeah. So I had to pay for them to come all the way from this other freaking town that's kind of far fucking away. Not local. It wasn't some place that's like 10 miles away or 15. So it's like 30, I think. 30 miles. So, anyways. So while the towing people are coming, now towing people can't give you a ride home. And unfortunately, when I was by Walmart, I could have took the bus. Like, if I would have broke down by Walmart or going back home from there, I probably might have been able to take the bus, I think. But being up at Tractor Supply, the bus doesn't go all the way up there. So had to, the tow truck dispatcher guy was like, well, you're going to have to just call an Uber or something. And I'm like, oh, I've never done Uber before. So I did Uber for the first time. So that was fine. It worked out okay. And we just waited in the bowling alley. So then they told they're going to, I was thinking, we'll tow it directly to this place. This place where I get my car fixed. But they're not the place who did my alternator. So then he's like telling me it's going to be close to $200. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, no, never mind. Just tow it to my house. Tow it to where I live, you know? And it was going to be less, but not a whole freaking lot less, but it was going to be less. So I was like, just tow it to my house, because I was like, okay, that's probably not the right decision. And I'm glad I didn't get it towed to where I've been getting my car fixed, because my alternator did need to be replaced. So I got it. So they towed it to my house, which was fine because I had bedding and things I needed to get out of there anyways. Then, turns out, I have AAA. And because my ex told me a while back, like last year, that he put me onto AAA. And I thought he was lying to me because he never gave me a card number or anything of how I could know that that I have AAA. So I thought he's just probably lying, you know? So I called AAA and they're like, yeah, you have 5 service calls available. Like, I was like, oh my God. But they're like, you have till January 1st to use it, you know? So it kind of worked out perfectly. That I had those tows available. So, yes, I did get smacked with the fee for towing from where I broke down to home. But, the next morning, I hopped on it right away, called AAA, had the guy come out, look at my battery. He said, oh, your battery light's on? That means it's your alternator, honey. And he was giving me a bunch of information and tips. Like, we had a really good conversation. And, he called the tow for me. He placed the order for the tow. So I had my car towed directly to the guy who did my alternator. The problem is that he said, look, the alternator is under lifetime warranty, but if it's clogged up with oil, it's not gonna be under warranty. So the guy that I took that my car got towed to, he wasn't even supposed to be working till after the new year. He's a private mechanic though, so he was in the office doing paperwork, but he's like, yeah, I'm not really doing anything work until after New Year. So I said, okay, fine. But I'm just gonna get the car dropped off and I'll hear from you whenever you work on it or whenever you look on it. This guy, that was in the morning, my car got towed down, boom. He calls me at 3:30, like, car is done. It's done. I was like, wow. It was like lightning fast speed. I had the same day I had my car towed down, I was picking her up. So I took an Uber to pick the car up. So yeah, and he also was like, look, it's not under warranty. He said, look, I'll charge you for the part and I'm not going to charge you for labor. I was like, wow, thank you. So that was that. But the thing is, I still am not going to be driving my car until I get the oil situation figured out, because my alternator was new. I got it a year and a half ago and it's dead. But he said for sure your front valve cover over your engine is broken. That's what he said. He said it's spilling oil everywhere. And I just got that front valve cover replaced 2 months ago. So I'm thinking that hopefully the other place where I got it replaced at will replace it for free, you know, because it must be faulty or something. Something happened to it. I don't know what other reasons your valve cover can just break within 2 months. So, like, even though I'm thinking, is it their fault that my alternator got messed up, or was my alternator already getting damaged for the year that I was possibly driving around with a broken valve cover, and then they replaced it 2 months ago, and then it broke again and got more oil into it. So I'm not sure exactly, like, forensically what happened, But if the front valve cover is broken, I think the least that I can expect them to do is to replace it and fix it for free. That would be amazing. And then that would be that, you know, hopefully, if that's where all the oil issue is coming from, which I believe that that is what it is. So, that's 15 minutes. So yeah, everything worked out very well. And I'm hoping for the oil situation to get solved also. So thank you, Father, for the easy, peaceful, harmonious solution to this issue. What else am I going to say about it? Yeah, within one day, my car has been up and running. And I'm thankful for that. And yeah, that's about it. I just wanted to share my car story. All right, everyone, have a wonderful new year. And may we all keep getting better and better every day.